Right, good evening everybody. Welcome to our July meeting. We will start with a report from Councillor Hill. Please.
Oh, right.
Alright.
I think I did tell you last time that troubles I have too many parish councils to go to. But obviously, we are going to do up the footway side from between here and Billingborough, which is, I know, has been a long-term request from the parish council. It will probably happen next year, so that, and hopefully whether it will be a cycleway or just a footway, I don't know, but that will be all the way. So it has been over the years quite a challenge. And the other one is still looking at Queensway, and I think some highway specialists are looking to see, with it being concrete, whether what could be done to just improve it. Although there's no potholes or anything, it is quite scabby. And I see they are still working on the block drain down the road, down West Road here, which is a work in progress. I don't know where they are with that, but perhaps somebody else will. So they especially, I see they've dug up the road, but I'm not sure what they've got beyond where to. I'll be interested to hear what's going on there. Aside from that, obviously from Broad's perspective, we think we'll be able to put a bit more, probably £9 million more into highways. I think this time sort of particularly in terms of drought damage on fen roads, because the trouble is that you get drought and the road then the soil dries up and the road collapses. So we've got, not too bad around here, although we've got fen roads. Some certainly down near Spalding Way is quite bad, so there'll be more investment in that. We've also had some money from government, so we are going to put in what's called a holiday activity fund, which is probably relevant for this time of the year. The school term about to finish, so again, if people need support or there's activities arranged for children, so that and obviously support as well if they're in need of food and all the rest of it. So if you go on the County Council website, you will see where that is. Apart from that, nothing else. Everything is as it was in terms of the reservoir, proposed reservoir up at Helpingham, and there has been some work on the fen roads. Again, haven't been down since. Interested, I haven't usually go and cycle down there to see how it's going, but they have done a bit of work down there. Whether they've done sufficient, I'll be interested. They've done some, it's Pointon, no, which fen it is. They've done one where they've done quite a bit of it, but probably a bit left to do. But I'm happy to take questions and comments from any of you. Thank you.
I think they've done a bit down both fens, but there's still some left.
There's still some left.
I just ponder why the pothole's finished and then the one next to it that joins it is left, but I know not.
Yeah, I think the situation there is just quite a difficult one, because obviously the gangs, and there's two of them normally in a van, they are monitored quite heavily now. There's tracking devices on the vans, so management can see where they are, and also they're given a schedule of how many potholes to repair in a day, for example. And then nowadays they take pictures, so I can see pictures of what they've done. And of course you see the one done, you go, oh, you're right, and you go there, and then why didn't they do that one was there? So I think that the rule of thumb really is if there's just the odd one, which one's doing, they should do it. But obviously if they do too many, they won't finish their shift, or they might run out of material. So it's not a great, there is a team now which could just start at one end of a road and just keep going and mend everything in sight, which is probably for that. I certainly know the last time I was down the fens, they've done quite a few, but there's still quite a few to be done, and they haven't. I must have been down there a few weeks ago, but they haven't come back. I did hope they'd sort of come back. That was Millthorpe Fen, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Agelby Fen. They haven't been back to do those ones, they haven't done?
No.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
No, but what they have done is appreciated.
Sorry?
I say what they have done is appreciated, because they've done the worst ones.
They've done the worst ones, but I thought they could have done there's a few more needs doing, and you sort of hope they'll come back later.
Okay, thank you very much. We haven't got Councillor Dixon Warren tonight for his report, so we'll move straight on to questions from the public. Any questions, please?
You want an update on the...
We'll have an update on West Road, please, yes?
Yeah.
Yeah, an update on West Road would be very helpful, thank you.
I have to say, I'm very disappointed with the Leadership Council. Not only did they make us wait a month before starting work because they need road closures. Have you seen any signage?
No.
I've seen traffic going up and down, there's been no road closure. They sent 2 guys out with a hand shovel. They've dug 2 holes, 1.2 metres deep, can't find a drain, can't dig any dirt more because it's against health and safety. So now we're waiting to see what they come up with tomorrow morning.
That's all they've done.
And that's all they've done.
They were very much there.
Oh, they're very nice fellas.
They dug the holes, dug 2 holes, they filled up with water, and they dug the first one, and it got water in the bottom of it. But they couldn't find the actual pipe. They dug next to the drain cover,
Yeah.
and they found a pipe, and they found another pipe going across their frontage, or into their driveway, going up the field. Well, the thing is, when, look, it must have been,
So is that a field drainage pipe?
yeah, I think it's a
So that's,
field drainage.
that's coming in and then,
Because years ago, they filled in, behind our property, they filled in the dike, because they were draining the field. And what I think the angle it looked at, it was going up to where the old dike used to end. So, what that's done, I think it's come from the dike where the field drainage is come down. And when they built the houses, obviously the ones where the houses were built, they just dug the footings and forgot about the pipes, just left them there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you're right. I mean, one of the troubles, once they start digging, you find all sorts of problems. I've been around, coming to this parish council a long time now, and certainly some of the newer houses along there, at the time, the builder put an insufficient pipe in, and it was, and this is before we, you know, this is before the county council. Now we can prevent that thing, but I think the parish council said, well, they put an inadequate drain in and filled it in, and as you say, there's been a problem. So once they will, I'm sure they will get to the bottom of it, but they obviously it's a bigger job than they felt.
The thing is that they where the drain cover is, they'll be sticking a thing down there where you can find out where the actual drain goes.
Yeah.
But they can only get about, I don't know, 2 foot down. But the reason why is it can only get 2 foot down, well, one reason is collapsed somewhere between the 2 things. And the second reason is it's been 7 years and there's been water flowing down there and mud, and it's just compacted in there. And the bloke said there's nothing on the works order to actually knock the other drain.
Well, in the past, I mean, years ago, it would have been an open ditch all the way down there, and it's, as you say,
well, to roughly where.
yeah, and it's been filled in, and there's been no records, and
No, but they're not going to do the rest of the drains down West Road.
down which way?
Down, going down towards the High Street, because as you.
Yeah, but the issue there is, and I mean, there is an issue at the end of the High Street, but it's quite clear. The one drain is blocked outside the house there, and then the next one is clear running. So obviously,
Well, no, it's not clear running.
but it runs.
Well, it runs because it runs as a river, because it comes out of the drain.
Yeah, but then it then goes back in the next drain and goes
in the
back.
next drain, which fills up, overflows.
Yeah, but
goes in front of
when
our garage, fills up, overflows, goes down to the next drain, fills up, overflows, and it just carries on. And there's a river going down West Road, and we've said this for 7 years, and you know, bugger all's been done about it.
Well,
they're going to dig. They're going to maybe do the collapse. Brilliant. You know, to stop, because there's 7 years worth of mud going down West Road and all the drains. And the woman who come to you, Ros Nichols, said they need jetting out. But they've got, you know.
I was just going to say, once once they've found the collapse and replaced that, then it's going to need jetting. else it's
Then it will be
a waste of
jetted,
time.
yeah. But they've got to find that bit where it's
Well, they
obviously.
can't find the collapse.
Well, they will do in the end.
Because one, they sent two blokes with a bloody shovel and not a digger, and not to dig across the driveway where the collapse is, and they think the collapse is, and they can't find where the collapse is with rods because it's full of mud. I mean, it needs a bloody JCB there, or mini JCB, to dig the bugger up and find out where it is. Because you can dig with a shovel, and the road's meant to be closed Sunday, Monday and Tuesday. And there's no way on this God's earth that they're going to find it in 2 days.
They're not going to dig it tomorrow, find it, repair it and replace it.
No, I think you're right. I think you're right.
It's just, it's going to, I don't know.
Can I remember about, must be 10 years ago, when it flooded down here.
Yeah.
Then it went and it hit the house on the high street, and it turned and it went down the high street, and all the houses, including the pub, on that side got flooded.
Yeah.
Because I remember it was really bad,
Yeah,
and that was all because of West Road.
yeah.
Well, the trouble is that, you know,
They
years
can't
ago
find
the
things
dikes
as
were all,
well.
the farmers entitled, all the dikes were dug out, big dikes were dug out at West Road there, and what that meant, all water comes down West Road faster, and it doesn't take much before it overcharges and it's hitting the high street. I mean, that's what, and you're right, it does require.
It needs jetting the whole way from the high street.
Yeah.
And maybe the high street needs jetting as well. And because
But,
it goes down the high street, I think, and end up down the Fen.
But
Go
that
on.
path,
Yeah, there is
you can stand up and walk along it. It's so big from,
Yeah,
certainly from where I am on
Yeah.
West Road.
It's
It's not a drain. People think of it as a drain, but it's not. It's a
Well,
culvert.
where you
Walk along.
live, that was flooded
Oh yeah, yeah.
because they put a wall in the dike, the other side of the road, to stop the 8 foot wide dike, 8 foot deep, flowing into a 2 foot deep dike. Because it just went through there, flooding, because Norman used to live there.
That's right.
yeah.
I think about 3 years ago, it had come up and it was just lapping underneath my front edge, and I had to move my car, and I was sweating a bit because I didn't think.
Sounds to me basically there's a stretch on West Road that the whole drains won't replace it.
Well,
It's not just a case of one drainage cover, it's
No.
a whole stretch.
They certainly want servicing.
they want jetting out because it's just.
Well, they've obviously done. Yes, I think once they've found that and I'm sorry they haven't. They've sort of come half cock and not come.
Well, they just
Okay.
come as 2 blokes with a shovel, and they've done 2 little holes at about.
Okay, I've just
that
passed
long,
it. Yeah,
that
they're not
long.
too big, and
And it's
they
just-
can't find the pipe.
No,
Right?
they can't find the pipe.
Mm. Why don't they? I don't understand why they don't start where the drain is, because there's got to be a pipe down there, hasn't there? And work along. I've done plenty of that, but anyway, I'll pass the message back that it's work in progress, which isn't going very well. It's a fair comment. And if we get that sorted out, then there's an issue about, because they have tried to jet it already, it obviously got stopped, where we got the problem at the moment. But I'll pass the message back that we are, but they did never close the road, so they didn't need a road closure then.
There's no plans for the drains.
To show where the drains are, because that's what they're
Because
looking
in front of our house has been there for, well, I've been living up here 36 years, and my wife's parents have been up here for about 70, 80 years, and the drains have been there. And so, still they don't know where the drains are.
Well, they won't, because if somebody, and years ago, people just piped in, filled in, they built a house and then they just do the sewage into the.
Well,
All
the
this,
house-
and
the
there
house
was
we're
no.
living, the 2 drains in front of it, it's been there since 1927.
But then nowadays, when they build a new house, they have to tell us what their plans are, and hopefully, there's somebody checks. In the past, there's all sorts of stuff went on which shouldn't have gone on, and there is no record, and we just don't know. There is no, in villages like Pointon, nobody really knows what drains are and where they go.
Sorry to interrupt. If the people organising these so-called repairs and expeditions actually spoke and liaised with the people like this that have lived there, they'd find out all they needed to know. They'd actually get the first hand, well, this is what's happening, this is where you need. They need to talk to each other.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. Yeah. They sometimes do, you know, there's always somebody who probably remembers, even today.
But I'm sure these people would be more than happy to physically show them and explain what the problem is.
You know the house on the corner as you go down,
Yeah.
where they put that ramp up, hasn't it? Because
Yeah.
he was always getting flooded. That drain is under there as well. Because
Yeah.
when the high street got done and it came down from here, it was a torrent, it hit the house at the bottom.
Mm.
That drain underneath his, because their house got flooded, that drain split, didn't it?
Mm.
And then he put that cove on the top, but they put a new piece of drain underneath, which was wider. So the drain must go there, but where it goes from there, I don't know.
Well, it goes up West Road. There's all drains there and pipes underneath them, but
Just not maintained.
no, they're not maintained. When it comes to like 53, they seem to think it's collapsed where they joined the pipe onto the pipe that was, because it was a dike and then it went into a pipe.
Yep.
And where they joined it,
I think that's where the problem is
that's
too.
where the problem is. But
Are they digging the right place?
well, I don't know. No, I don't think so, because I think
No.
they're going to have to go across the drive because it's.
They won't do it with a shovel.
It won't.
No, that'll have to be a digger job
A
then
digger,
too.
a
And
digger
not only
job.
that, there's high electric cables through there as well, somewhere.
Buried?
Yes.
Yeah, well there's that. They should have a record of that.
Oh,
So
yes.
Because down the footpath,
yeah.
I've been throwing, because I'm digging out some stuff to lay gravel, and I'm putting dirt on the footpath because it's got to the hardcore above the high tension cables.
Yeah, well you don't want to be messing with those, do you?
So people have been kicking away the stones, it's slowly been getting lower and lower. And it's some.
Okay, well I'll pass the message back and see why they're doing such a poor job.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Any other questions quickly?
Yeah, I just wondered if there was any talk of us with the playing field. We had the shore at the church with this playing thing,
Yeah.
and we said about fundraising, but what are we doing? Are we doing anything?
That's on the agenda.
It's on the
for Plain-
agenda, I
On
think.
Plainfield, so something will be mentioned about that. Okay?
Thank you.
Not a question, just a comment. I see that the trees have been cut at the end of St Gilbert's Close. And if you could tell me where the comedian is who did it, I'd like to go and see his next show, because he's flooding an areas.
The owners of the property.
And of course, you wonder why half the drains are blocked. Well, the crap he left all over the bloody place, and with the rain in it, it's probably all gone down the drains.
I'll take your point.
I did go out, John went out and we
Yeah,
went
I
out
know
and
we went
cleaned it
through a
up.
lot up, but we've had a lot of rains in
I know,
Central, because
it was a mess, but John and I did go out and get as much of the debris off the ground as we possibly could.
Right, I think we'll move on to.
I have a question.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. I'll stand up because it's easier. I watched with interest your last parish council meeting, and the bit I want to pick up with is this issue with access from the pub to the playing field. Now, I have no affiliation with the pub, but I found the conversation and the attitude quite surprising, really. The pub's a local amenity. The access to the pub to the playing field for me would make sense if I was there with my children wanting for them to go and play. I think one of you said, oh well, they can go along the road and down the side alleyway onto the field, and that's okay. But you know, if I was sitting there, and there's thousands of pubs in this country that have access to playing fields where children can play, but one of the reasons you gave was that paedophiles or somebody might come and snatch a child. Now, I'm an expert in safeguarding. I've been doing it for much of my career, and believe me, paedophiles will pick up children wherever they want, and they're not necessarily going to go to the pub car park at Pointon to do it. They might go down the side alleyway, they might go to the public area. But I feel that your attitude, and I think Councillor Green, you said at the end, you sort of you said it ain't happening or it's not happening, and I just thought, no, let me finish. let me finish. And I just felt that you were being very closed in your thought process. We have very little in this village, and I know there's been problems with the pub, and I know there's been problems, etc., etc. But we're in a situation whereby it'd be really nice to have a great amenity, and it would be great to use the playing field and have that access point. It might be that it's an access point that's closed off most of the time, but open when the pubs are open or when there's an event or whatever. But to just dismiss it out of hand, which is what you did, I found quite shocking, and your reason was you said something about a child being snatched wherever, and I do understand that children's safety is really important, but I don't think that the pub car park in Pointon is necessarily going to be any different to the small alleyway that goes between the houses or even the car park round the back. And I urge you to reconsider working with the pub, the football club, amenities, activities going on on the playing field. I think it would be a really good thing to do, and I found that your decision making was a little bit dictatorial, basically.
Can I just tell you?
Yeah.
It was about 18 years ago. There was unfortunately people were living in the village that were moved into the village.
Yeah.
They used the pub and access because one of them was my child.
Yeah.
To sit in the trees, and they used it to come in that way, and it was closed at the time because of it.
Yeah, I understand that, but if you open the trees up, you wouldn't have a problem, would you? But to be honest, Christine, I understand, and it must have been very shocking for you. I've worked with safeguarding and dealt with some very serious issues over the years, and paedophiles and people that want to hurt children are not necessarily going to pick that car park. They're prolific. They will do it wherever they can do it. So the reasoning behind not doing it, I found very difficult, because actually the thought of having a really good amenity where perhaps we can start getting food in the pub, and it's been taken over by the 8 Sails Brewery recently. I just thought it was very, very dismissed out of hand, and I watched it, thought, you know what, I'm going to come along tonight and tell you it sounded very short-sighted.
Oh, that's fine.
And I urge you to reconsider it.
Look, thank you for your opinion. I mean, well, I'd say that if there was a proper access that had been applied for, which I'm aware there hasn't been, and some large sort of kissing gate rather than just a fence trampled down, that would be a lot better.
Absolutely, yeah.
And would be up for consideration.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. My point is that I would expect that it would be properly applied for. Yeah. I would expect that it would be done properly. But Christine said it ain't happening. I think I remember I wrote it down and thought that's just a bit black and white. And actually, let's think about how we could do it. And it might not be that you have to do it. It might be that you're going to get an application. I don't know. I don't know the people at the pub. You might get an application from them. But to dismiss it out of hand, given that we have so very few amenities in our communities, that we would probably want to support the pub and support its growth in our community for all of the people. And to be honest, if I'm a parent, which I am, but my daughter's grown up, I've sat many a time in a pub garden and watched the children play, and if I could see them, I'd be much happier. Now at the moment, I can't sit in the pub garden and watch them because the children have got to go along the high street down the side, and if that was created, that would be fabulous. So don't dismiss it out of hands if you can, and think about what the benefits are, and particularly with the football club and sporting activities and the new playground that you're planning, it will be only an enhancement if we can find a solution rather than just dismissing it out of hand, which is what I saw.
Thank you very much. I'm sure we all appreciate your view, and that can be into consideration when we develop the plan for it.
Lovely, thank you.
Right, we'll now open the council session. I remind all councillors we're governed by the rules and Ellen principles. So we'll start with item 1. I don't think we've got any apologies for absence now, because we're there. It's rain. Item 2. Are there any declarations of interest on this agenda?
Item 11 for me.
Okay. Right, item 3, to approve the minutes from the meeting held on the 20th of June 2023. We've all been issued with them, all seen them, read them. Is everybody happy? Right, I shall sign those. Thank you. Item 4, finances, to receive a clerk's report on payments between meetings. Do we know?
Just the normal payments,
Yeah,
SKDC, tradeways,
yeah,
wages,
yeah,
and press cutting.
yeah.
And then there will be, moving forward at the end of this month, my wage,
Yeah,
and then the mileage claim for going to the pavilion on the 3rd of the 6th and the 30th of the 6th.
yeah.
And then C, we've had the final payment from the Lero pound at the end of last month.
Yeah. We've got to consider and approve the first quarter spend against the budget, which we've all been sent, haven't we?
Oh yeah, found lots of new pretty,
We had noticed.
how do you transcribe that? I could send all these reports out to you, so yeah.
We're really happy with that.
Yeah.
We've been sent the bank reconciliation, we're happy with that. Item 5, clerk's report to receive an update on outstanding matters from previous meetings.
The only thing that was really outstanding, I have received from Marie the old paperwork for which I've forwarded to you, regarding the football posts, and this is where the minutes weren't clear. We had the minutes to go on last time. The football club has sent the receipt. Now, whether it was that the football club paid for them and then we paid the football club back, or whether it was given as a grant, or whether, we are talking 2010. So, they're 13-year-old goalposts. Do we really need them on the Ascot register? Which was what the main item was last time.
Yes, paperwork's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I say, it's not quite clear if, I know the PC, it says in the minutes, the PC gave some money to the football club for them, but again, it doesn't say if it was a grant, etc. So we're just going back round in circles.
Yeah.
Can I just interject and say that it was given in return for some work that the football club did for the council on the driveway?
Right, okay.
See, there's nothing actually in writing,
So it's pointless.
and
Quite
we are
a
digging
turnaround.
things up from
I
2010.
think that's a lesson on moving forward, isn't it?
And,
Everything has to be documented.
Yeah,
That's fine with me.
and the other one is, Marie's still to send the agreement over, but again, that was said that it would be deferred until the pavilion was back up and running.
Yeah.
So we've got plenty of time to get it and work with each other.
But we're not, this is 7, 8 and 9, we're not on 7, 8 and 9 on the agenda yet, are we?
No.
No,
No. I think the other thing is those speeding gates, plan permission's been applied for, hasn't it?
Yeah.
For the village gates.
Yeah.
As I explained to someone last time, it's a long drawn out affair waiting for decisions.
So
It's been done, it's in hand, it's just a waiting game, I'm afraid.
I thought if I put that onto the agenda as a normal thing, people can be updated rather than everything goes quiet.
Yes.
What happened about the flower cutting then? Did you come to a decision like that? If you ever
It was mentioned last time by a member of public, and it's in the public section, but
We're going to lift them, won't we?
I thought a while back there was going to have somebody that was going to do it.
They did them last year, but nobody came forward this year, and I'm afraid it was one of those things that slipped through the net. And I think we were talking, but no decision was made about removing them, putting them in storage so they don't deteriorate anymore, so they can be used in the future. Because if we put speeding gates up, it will detract from those, so we'll look for reciting them. The one at the village hall will be fine, so that's maintained, but the others are looking in a sorry state, so they won't collecting up.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea to collect them up, store them somewhere dry and safe,
Yeah.
and then at some point in the future, hopefully not too far distant future, they can go
Is it
back.
on the agenda?
Not really.
Not really, okay. That'll be on the agenda for next time then. But yeah, I mean, we'll have to go through the process, but I think store them and maintain them for future use. Okay. Right, item 6, policies. To review the following policies. We have a data breach policy, data protection policy, equality and diversification policy, health and safety policy, FLIA policy,
Freedom of information.
freedom of information, yeah.
And then there's freedom of information
Publication scheme. Mouthful, isn't it?
The standard,
And they're on
it's
the
just
website, aren't
the
they?
review date was within a year because they were all new policies. So I gave,
Nothing needs changing.
no, I gave them a year
Yeah.
Yeah.
to see how they went and we could move them.
Item 7, pavilion. To receive an update on the pavilion. Right, there's been several things we received a handover from the tenant, and the following day most of us went down and had a cleared up some of the old wood and debris. In fact, there was quite a lot of clearing up, and just as a general tidying up. We want the playing field to look cared for. If we're going to spend money with the playground, which we've made a decision we are going to, it needs to be clean and tidied up. That's what happened the day after. I think some of us have been in and had a bit of a clean up inside. From what I can gather, I haven't been inside myself. I was available that Saturday and I've not been down since. Anybody else has anything to add?
Yeah, Jane and myself went down to go and have a look in the changing rooms and have a good look round. The mould is really growing now. It's all over the ceiling. The tiles are now coming off the shower areas. When we went in, they popped off, haven't they? And the mould is everywhere.
Not getting the air, is it?
No, there's no air going in at all. The smell is awful. I know we've turned the water off and the electric off. The toilets were leaking. There was a gents' toilet leaking all over the floor, and so was the ladies. But it's a mess. It's not really, to be quite honest, fit for purpose now.
We did have the inspection on the day of handover. The inspectors turned up in the arena.
I saw them round.
Yeah.
And it was the team from SKDC. The extension was declared dangerous because of the loose bricks, etc. So that's why the footpath was closed off. And it needed to be brought down to a secure and stable level, which it has done now.
More or less.
Yeah,
There's
but
still some
but
work to do.
it is
The worst has been made safe.
that was classed as dangerous, so we had to act on that. And I've got to get my teeth right for this one. The other bit was degradation, which they've said is really we will need a new roof. They think a lot of the problems, because it's a wooden structure, is because a metal sheet steel corrugated roof was put on top. They then looked inside the changing rooms and think what has happened is there's an air vent that goes, instead of going out through the wall, it goes out through the roof. Now, metal has been put on top and therefore nothing can escape, and he thinks that is why you're getting so much more inside. I've then been on the course, for the risk assessment course that I asked to go on, and having a very quick risk assessment on it, I don't think it's safe.
And our responsibility is to members of the public and the people that are using our facility. And if we know it's not safe and we let them use it, then we're opening ourselves up to all sorts of claims and allegations, and it's just not worth it.
So we've got to find a way forward then.
We're going to have to. I don't really want to lose it, but I don't know how we're going to fix it. The trouble is, if we take the roof off and we meet everything underneath it, we don't know what's underneath.
Is there any way we could get a roofing company to, without removing the whole roof, take a sneak peek to try and assess the damage? Because you can't say we've got to, I mean, it's precious money we're spending. You can't say, right, we're going to rip the roof off, put a new roof on. And the roofer takes the roof off and finds out more damage because of the condensation and the vent. Can't a roofer do an investigation on it?
I suppose it could, but then that's going to cost you, and the changing rooms are not now fit for purpose anyway.
It would cost us more to rip the whole roof off. I think an investigation, you're looking at what problems are. I think we know what the mold problem is now. It's a blocked air vent. And it's getting worse because there's no air circulating.
That's the one that's obvious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's growing everywhere.
No, but that's the obvious, but there
I mean,
might be
I'm-
something else underlying.
I'm not a roofer, but I wonder whether somebody could see if they can remove a sheet and have a look. Is it worth contacting a roofer? Because we can sit idly by and say it's closed and do nothing, and that's not really proactive, is it?
I mean, we can apply for grants anyway, can't we? But I mean, the Ground Roots FA I spoke to, they said that the changing rooms are not really up to standard anyway. We've got no disabled toilet in there. The windows are clear and should be frosted. The changing area, the breeze blocks are not acceptable. It's a hazard, and the showers are too high anyway, and they should all be screened now. But the inside, if we can get the roof done and it's okay, and we could find where the structure beams are, if there is any, then maybe we could start to look at opening it up a bit and getting cubicles in there and, you know, working round it. We need to try and work in there to see if we can get it. And see if when work.
That mould isn't present when the facilities are open during the season because it gets cleaned and it doesn't come across. But there may well be some inherent issues with the roof. But it's been fine for, in fact, redone less than 5 years ago.
Can you just leave that, Maureen? I mean, yeah, I appreciate what you're saying, but we're just dealing with what we've seen at the moment. We've gone in the pavilion. I propose that we find the roofer to do an investigation on the roof, because I don't think we can make any decision on the building itself without we know whether it needs a new roof. A new roof could cost more than a new structure.
The integrity of the roof is the priority, so yeah, I second that. Let's get somebody proper to come
And
in.
if we can find out from the roofer where the main structure is inside, because the layout of the changing rooms, toilets, the configuration would have to be different in there to be able to get your changing rooms in cubicles up to standard that is required.
If it's a bona fide roofer,
Yeah, then if
they've done another job.
yeah, then I think we should go ahead and do
There
it.
are plans.
I was just going to say, we've got it planned somewhere.
Yeah, for 4 new changing rooms, boiler house, restroom, everything.
But is there a plan of the existing building from when it was
Yes.
first built?
Are you got a copy then?
Yeah. I have.
Yeah.
because the council's not got any plans at all, and it would be rather useful at this.
Well, they was to go alongside, where the clubhouse is sitting that way, they was to go alongside
Yeah.
the
But I
fence.
mean, we need existing plans for the original building, because they give us some idea of supports, the roof and everything.
Yeah, well, the idea was to have the chamber rooms.
The application was submitted by the parish council to SKDC.
Yeah.
So they're on
19
record.
1976, 77, something like that. When you
No.
No,
The application to build the new changing rooms was submitted by the parish council to SKDC.
I'm talking about the original building.
On that plan is a copy of the original building.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. So we should be able to find that somewhere then.
It's on the
Should be.
planning application.
Planning applications, right.
That was why that side bit was started, to try and get it complete, to keep them plans in order, because you only get so long, don't you, before you have to start building.
But once it started,
Yeah, that's
it
why
then
that was.
stopped.
Right, so shall we have a show of hands who will support giving a roof to an investigative?
Yeah,
Um,
I agree.
Unanimous?
Yeah.
Right, okay. Right, item 8, football club. All ties it together really. I believe we've been in contact with the Lincolnshire FA regarding the grassroots football. If you can enlighten us on what was said, please.
Yeah, I spoke to them. There is grants available that we can apply for, which will include anything to do with the clubhouse. But it would be a refurbishment and it would have to be up to standard because the changing rooms are not up to standard. There have to be cubicles, the breeze blocks would have to go. I did a Zoom call with him as we walked around and he said it would have to be changed. That's why I said to him about the roof, if we can find where the main structure is. He said you could knock through the toilets and have cubicles and changing areas, but then you've got the public as well. He came up with the idea of having toilets where, you know, where the ref thing is now, you know, where that cabin is.
Outside the
Cabin. You've got a door from there. He suggested you have a porta cabin there with toilets that would be able to be open to
I
the
think
public.
you'll find that's on the.
Yeah, so
plans.
open to the public so that anybody using the playground could use those toilets and from the bar area. And then the changing rooms and shower facilities then would be used for, if the football was there and the public, they wouldn't be meeting each other. So the football would have that back area, but the toilets would be alongside with toilets, changing rooms, baby changing area and a disabled toilet.
Yeah.
So that's what they came up with.
Can I just say one of the reasons for the application for the new clubhouse was because the footprint of the existing building was deemed to be not large enough to accommodate the layout of changing rooms that you would now need in order to secure funding.
Yeah, that's what they've said as well. So we'd have to look at that.
The refurbishment of the existing to include changing rooms would really be a non-starter.
Well, they suggested the purchase of a semi-permanent, I suppose, a porta cabin that is attached to the main building, that it can be independently used from the main building, so the door that connects could be closed off, so it can be opened up to allow users of the facilities to use toilets, certain parts of the toilets and the changing rooms, without compromising the rest of the interior of the pavilion itself. And then, if necessary, if it's suitable for whatever's being done at that particular time, then it can be opened up completely. But one does not mean that you don't have to have everything open.
No, that's fine. Yeah.
Because
that would be a separate.
A temporary facility would also be a lot cheaper than the new.
Exactly, but the thing is, what he also said was, if you're able to revamp and make the changing rooms, the toilets that are there, suitable for change, because you'd have to have cubicles now, that's part of it. So you'd have to have cubicles for your showers, your toilets, and you're changing area, so similar to what they have in the swimming pool, then that part of the building would be for the guys, the footballers and whatever. And then the toilets would be separate for the general public to be using, either on the playing field where the swings are, they can go and use it, or they can come in from the pavilion and in that way into the bar area. So if they are playing, they don't see the guys changing and things like that.
What sort of sums are we talking about, Christine, for these grants that presumably we apply for?
Yeah, I think it was 250,000, wasn't it? Rowena, if I remember rightly.
I think that's what you.
That's
But
what
we'd
we
have
want.
to cost it, wouldn't we?
Yeah. And then there were three particular grants that they sent details of.
Yeah.
The 250,000, which is £250,000, which would be really nice towards purchase of the cabin and doing everything that needs to be done. And then there's a sliding scale on sustaining the field
Yeah,
itself.
so you can do the field of the pitch, maintaining it, the driveway, because he suggested, and I said there used to be a fence across where the park, where the car park is, there used to be a fence all the way across. He said that needs to be, in case anybody kicks a ball and it goes into the car
And
park.
dedicated disabled
Yeah.
parking spaces.
Yeah. So, but it can all be grant wise. But the main thing we've got is the roof. If we can find out how that roof is,
Then we
then we
know
can
what-
start applying and getting them
I
done.
think just to confirm on item 7, the pavilion will remain closed
Yeah.
until we have a report from a roofer.
You can't physically open it. It's not in a fit state.
Rowena's
Oh, we've got no
just done
time.
that health and safety course, and looked at that and done the assessment. She's fully qualified, so that is the position with the pavilion. But because the two are merging a little bit.
With regards to the question I asked you in the email about a view of the safety inspection, are we able to get a copy?
As soon as SPDC send it to me, yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. You haven't got it simply because we have.
We haven't
That's
done
right.
yet.
Yeah, no problem.
Right, item B, to consider and discuss the request for siting welfare units. Because what you've just been talking about is not the same as this.
No,
No, it's not.
because the football club asked if this could go on the agenda,
Right.
if they can have some welfare units to get them through this season.
Have you received an application for any grant?
I haven't had no grant, but it was, as it says, to consider if the football club, you would be happy for them to site their own welfare units.
What exactly are we talking about? Welfare unit?
A minimum of toilets, because you can't have like pregnant women watching football on the side of the field, you can't go to the toilet. So obviously we'd like a change of room, if possible, but we're not being pushy, we're saying in the interim, whilst we understand that the pavilion is off limits at the moment, in order to carry on playing down there, we need some facilities.
I've not got a problem you putting something down there.
It's just where you're going to site it.
Presumably in the car park, because we don't want to make it a permanent structure.
There's no chance you could use the portico, I know it's a bit scabby, but that would,
The cabins that we've got,
Yeah.
we can change in them technically,
yes.
but we can't have our wives and children coming down and not have toilets.
Yeah. So you could.
So there'd be absolute bare minimum, but although the league does dictate that you're meant to have shower facilities, so ideally we'd like some sort of porta cabin type welfare unit with men's and ladies toilet and a shower on it.
I did ask the.
And obviously there's a knock-on effect to that. If we have it in, presumably it's going to have some sort of connection to the mains, which are very near to where the current clubhouse is.
I
So
did
they can get
I did
water.
ask the ground rooms people about your, facilities and stuff.
Yeah.
And they said we do, and he said the facility is closed. He said majority of football people that come down, if they know that there isn't a facility, then they ensure that they come changed, they're all ready, the refs will be ready and changed.
That's all very well, but it's not practical in November when it's dipping it down the
But
rain.
you're not going to be stopped from playing if there aren't showers there.
No, we're not going to be stopping the playing if there aren't showers there. But we won't play there if there aren't toilets there, and we'd like showers as well.
Have you made inquiries as to the cost of these toilets?
Yes, we have made inquiries.
Any idea on costing?
Well, there's various amounts.
It's variable depending on whether we can connect to the existing mains or not.
Exactly the question I just asked.
Or whether it has to be self-sustaining.
Well, at the moment, we can't say that you can connect, because we don't know, we don't know where we can connect to.
There's a mains connection to the clubhouse at the minute.
It's outside, isn't it?
Yeah.
Is this mains electricity, mains water?
And in the minimum, we're just asking for water.
So,
Did you say you turned the water and electric off?
yeah.
Because it was leaking. We went in, there's water everywhere on the toilets. Because that will have to be repaired as well, but we don't want to start repairing it.
Or did you do it
No,
yourself?
it's the piping or, you turned it off, didn't you?
Yeah.
You had to turn
Did
it
you
off.
find the stuff?
Yeah, that's fine.
So short term, if you could use your existing cabin for changing, and some toilets were put there, like Portaloo, something like that, that would be a temporary fix.
That would be a temporary.
That would be a temporary fix. You'd have your toilets. You've already got your structure to get changed in. That would give us a chance to find out further down the road what we're doing with the pavilion before we commit to any more expenditure.
We're not asking you to pay for those welfare facilities.
Yeah.
We will do that, we will ask you for.
But we will get back to that,
Yeah.
because we have asked you in writing for a grant towards that cost in another email, haven't we?
But the form hasn't been filled in, and I showed you where, and I sent you
Yeah.
the grant application form, and until I get the application
We
form.
don't know exactly the cost, so we haven't applied for it.
No,
But we need permission to do it before we can apply for it.
that's what it was really.
So the Portaloos, would they go on near the, just trying to think where you'd site them, because would they have to be cleaned, who would do that? Do the company come out and check?
The same company that supplies them generally changes them and cleans them.
Right.
They had two for the kids' sports day. didn't
Yeah, they did, yeah. So they're not going to be a problem to be on the car park, are they?
I mean, short term is Portaloo, longer term is a welfare unit. And I think the question is, are we happy for them to have a welfare unit?
I just don't know how we're going to do it to the mains, though, 'cause we've got to find out how we're going to do it.
That's the only issue remains.
See, the thing is, if it's going on to the mains, then it becomes the issue of cost.
And where will they go?
Because, you know, the only water and electricity that will be used will be for those units, that unit, which shouldn't be parishioners' responsibility to pay for it.
We'll have to come to some sort of agreement with the football club regarding electricity and water usage then, wouldn't we?
If you're agreeing to allow us to use the already connected water and electric facilities, then of course we would expect to pay for them. But
Yeah.
within the agreement where we expect to pay for everything else that we use anyway.
In the meantime, okay, so we need to get the roof surveyed to check where we're up to, because that's going to be, that's the crux of everything really, isn't it?
Okay, but that doesn't really affect me in terms of, we've got friendlies coming in the next few weeks and we want to know if we can play down there. Are we
Right.
allowed to start temporary welfare facilities?
Have we got the list of when?
You've got one potential booking
We've got,
thus far.
yeah, we've got potential.
Just one.
But we haven't, as we haven't agreed to whether we're allowed to play there, we haven't booked in any games, except for this memorial match for a lad who died last
Yeah.
season.
Has the calendar been published
Of
of the league games this season?
next season.
Well, the season that is coming.
Not yet, no.
When is that expected to be out?
I would think it'll be out.
It's
by-
usually out
Yeah.
by the mid-August at the very latest.
So as soon as that's published, you'd be able to give us details of all the...
No, because they
Matches.
do change throughout the season. We can give you a guideline as to what they are in the first place.
Yeah, you can give us the calendar as it is set,
Yeah.
and then if it needs to be added to, it
It's,
can be added to.
yeah, because like when, well, sorry, not trying to be complicated. The weather affects the games, they get postponed. Cup progression
appreciate
affects the games, they get rearranged. So we can give you immediately as soon as the fixtures are out what they're projected to be, that will change.
Yes, yeah, but I mean, a fixture list gives us somewhere to start, and then we know that it can change, because there's lots of things that can cause those changes.
Sorry? Don't know how big a welfare unit you're looking at.
Steve, do you want to answer that? Steve's the club development.
I've just been asked, I'm not being funny, I've just been asked a question.
Well, we'd like, ideally,
If we go for minimum just toilets,
Right.
then those portable toilets are, 1,200 square.
Yeah,
So there'll be probably 2 or 3 of those as a minimum.
yeah.
But if we wanted showers and things like that, then you're probably looking at 20 foot by 8 foot.
So a small porta cabin size.
Yeah.
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 So that could then go where the fence is, where the water is. But we'd have to get that plumbed and everything, so
So
we'd have
that's got to be plumbed in properly, isn't it?
and we've got to do water meter on that.
Yeah, but that will.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking that would be the best
I
place
would
for
do.
it, wouldn't it? Where the fence
On the-
is,
on the
where,
car
Yeah.
park, end of the car
backing
park.
up to that.
So there's
to the
Yeah.
fence
Yeah.
would be the best place for
Yeah,
it.
I agree with you, Christine.
Yeah.
Well, if there's no expense other than a grant application towards, I personally can't
I'm
see a problem with that.
Do you, anybody?
Because then, if they did what I suggested as a quick fix, it's only a quick fix for a short period. You're looking back at it, whereas if you've got a welfare unit, that would probably set you up for more or less a season, would it?
Yeah,
Worst case scenario?
yeah, worst cut.
Yeah, okay. Right, well, I'm happy to allow them to have a welfare unit.
Are you okay?
I am, as long as it doesn't financially affect the parish council at all.
Well,
No, it was asked
yeah.
if, just like
agree.
we've been saying, we've got, they've been quite happy and,
Yeah,
and are asking before
there
just
is no reason why not.
dumping
I
something
think-
there without asking.
Yeah, and I think if we have it there, then they've got access to that water facility. Would you need drains for these welfares, or do they get clean? I don't know, so are they like a porta cabin
Well,
loo?
the
You
water
can't-
is,
you can't
they're
stand alone with
self-contained,
your
aren't they?
You can have standalone with a tank underneath, or you can connect into the mains.
Because we don't know what they're
Ideally,
like underneath.
no, ideally you connect into the mains, because then you haven't got to pay to enter the tank every month.
Right.
We'd have to see.
But we would pay for all that.
Yeah, I know, I'm just trying to think for you whether
As long as we'd
that place
have
would be
something in
better.
writing, so it's all above board, about costs and everything, yeah?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we can do it.
Yeah, we can do all that.
Yeah.
So I'm happy for them to have a welfare unit.
Yeah,
Everybody
I
else?
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the toilets as well, if welfare is a bit more too expensive for us.
Yeah?
Yeah, if we can't afford the welfare unit, we're going to go back to the porta cabins.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you put them on that area there, which will be easier for.
Access.
It's just easier to get to in
Yeah,
general.
well,
isn't it?
that's what I'm thinking, it's a better area anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
Right, so that's unanimously passed then?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Right, item 9, playing field, consider the safety inspection for the play equipment due in August.
We've always used Oscar,
Yeah.
but there was one do we go with Rosberg? Do we change?
I personally think we should change.
Yeah, I do too.
To who?
Nice.
Who are you changing it to?
That's my next question. What's it called?
You did message.
I did say to them.
What are we looking at cost wise? Are the similar cost of companies?
Usually not, just think fresh set of eyes would be good.
Yeah.
I think they can get, if
Place
it's the
safety
same,
content.
place safety, if it's the same company coming in year after year after year after year, you can become a little bit complacent about it.
I think we need to be sure on the swing structure because we met somebody down there from one of the companies who said the structure of the swings are fine and could be refurbed, which would save us considerable money on replacing other equipment. So,
Play inspections. Talk about what you think.
That's it, yeah.
Play inspections.
I did go down a few weeks ago, I had a message that somebody's child had been injured with glass on the slide,
yeah.
and I went down and cleared it up.
What was that, bottle or something?
It looked like it was a broken glass or a broken bottle, but it was scattered all the way around the base of the slide and some on the actual body of the slide itself. And the child had a bit of glass sticking out of its leg.
What's the accident book is building?
That's going accident book. Okay.
Yeah, it's got in the accident book.
As long as the other companies similar cost to the Ross, there are no objection to changing companies. We get a different view, especially if we've got done the course with them.
Yeah, I'll just,
You're just familiar with what they're looking for.
a fresh set of eyes.
Yeah.
So all the reports and they're the same every year.
Yeah.
Across the
And it gives us a good idea about the swing as well.
Yes,
Mm.
If they are worth refurbing.
yeah.
I think they are, but I'm not a playground expert, so.
And I think the sort of refurbishment that would be done on them now, they look damn good. And
think so.
probably they look as good as if they were new
Yeah.
swings.
So we're going to change to what?
Play
Inspection company.
Yeah. Is everybody happy with that?
Yeah? Yeah.
Right, okay, that's, everybody passed that?
Sorry, will they will slot into the schedule of doing it in August? Presumably.
Maybe September.
Yeah.
But
Give or
the
take.
way it tends to work is if they're in this area, they do quite a few in this
Yeah.
area. So I know when we used Rosford last year, it tied into one of my other parishes as well. And he did them both on the same day.
Is that just specifically play equipment?
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not field?
Yeah.
Nobody's done a tidy up down there this year either.
Sorry?
Nobody's done a tidy up down there. Normally before the inspection it gets tidied up. Because there's weeds all round it, roundabout. And grass all messing with it. Does it all the time. Nobody's, it's well neglected.
Right, okay.
So I mean, you're going to have a place, but you know you've got one in August every year. And nothing's been done to tidy it up. I know it should be done all the time, but normally it's either that or it's painted it up or something, but nothing's been done at all down there.
Well, I don't think we'll be painting it up, we're going to put a new roundabout in, so. But
Yeah,
still,
well, how long
still,
is it-
still wants to be usable.
How long is your new stuff going to take? You know, it don't take long to do a coat of paint in 4 weeks, does it?
I think we're hoping to get an order in quite soon.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're looking at the autumn, weren't we?
You can think now that this, you're having the new people in, it's going to be a damning report. We know that for a fact.
can't be much more down than what it already is.
No.
But if it's honest,
It's me,
damn,
there's
you
no
know.
Irish stuff in there, Rob. That's for sure.
But I would like to add regarding the question, the school are doing some fundraising currently with ice cream sales, so that's all going to go to the polls. Mira Wheeler is going to talk about some grants coming in, so I'm still fingers crossed we can get something in this year, and I really would still like to do a carving sometime in August hopefully, but I need somebody to really run that because I just haven't got time.
Ditto.
Joe?
quiet one there in the middle.
I'm
We'll be busy in August, but we didn't.
Imagine the stuff we break. So there are ongoing things to raise money.
I see the school's got quite a few new bits of equipment.
We saw those on the way in.
You just wanted to play on them, didn't you, on the way in?
Yeah.
But
But you're not allowed
The
to.
taped off.
The taped off.
Must be a little bit big for the kids.
Yeah, they are.
School get anything, school, isn't it?
So we're going with the different people, right? Done. Right, we're doing a Plainfield? Yeah.
Yeah.
Item 10 for Facebook account. Discuss the need for a parish council Facebook account following recent events. I personally think it would be a good idea.
I do. I
I
think.
know it was on the agenda and it's not been 6 months since it was last on the agenda. But personally, I don't really like commenting on a parish council matter using my personal
Yeah.
account.
I think it needs to be set up that it is simply for the sharing of information. So people can't comment. If they want to make any approach, they approach via email through Clark.
Yeah.
But it is simply there to share information on a site that is just for the parish council. Doesn't mean the website and the notice board are defunct.
No, because they've got to
But it's just-
legally
It's the way forward.
Yeah.
You know, most people use social media in one way or another, and I think, but it definitely needs to be not commentatable, whatever
Yes.
the word is.
I
Yeah,
don't
fine.
mind people messaging me, but you see again, at the moment they're messaging me through my
Yeah.
personal.
Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah,
I think it's a good idea.
we need to differentiate between personal and council and just keep it council. So if there's a council matter, people comment on the council side.
Especially with so much going on now, we need to keep people informed on what's going on and how things are going with the pavilion and anything.
Fundraising for
Fun,
play
yeah.
equipment, things like that.
And it's all in one central spot, and it can't be influenced by anybody outside the parish council. Would you run it, Rowena? So, you know,
That was nearly a plea.
please.
I think we need it, to be honest. I think it'd be nice for
21st
people to
century
know what's going on.
Yeah.
So you'll be happy to. Right, everybody else happy with that?
Yeah.
Okay, right. Unanimous. Tick tick. Item 11. Annual car meet. Before we ask Roy to leave the room with interest, is there any questions he needs to answer?
Who's organising it?
Me.
I'll call you Mr. Greenwood. Mr. Greenwood, so we know that you're here as Mr. not Councillor.
You can't stay in the room anyway, Dean, it's going to be recorded, isn't it, so.
It's been pointed out to me that we've not followed standing orders by somebody more powerful than me.
Right,
That-
if you want
that
to leave the room,
if
I'll
it
leave.
if it was something with me, I would leave the room.
I'll
If that's what we have to do, we have to do.
I'll just watch it on the
Of
video.
course you can. Of course you can. It's not a problem. It's what the standing orders say. I didn't make the rules. But
Any more questions before I go?
When exactly is it?
24th and 27th of August.
Is that the bank holiday weekend?
Yes, it is.
So has it been advertised as already,
No, it's
Or-
not a public thing, it's just a...
but has it already been?
It's the one we have every year, Christine.
Right. So do people pay tickets or do they?
No.
Thursday to Sunday.
Thursday to Sunday.
And how many people do you think will come? Based on last year, have you got a list of
30.
people?
About 30.
About 30.
facilities,
Yeah.
you ain't got any.
No.
Any provision?
We don't know what's happening, do we?
Right.
think it's safe to say there won't be access to the pavilion
No, cut it out.
and toilets, so are you looking to put water doos in?
I've not made any decision, and I need to know whether it's going to go ahead or not, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's no good making plans if there's no plans to make, is there?
What about insurance? Would you have a separate insurance?
Everything's covered.
Okay,
Right, Lee, you,
Go and sit with the guinea pig.
Go and buy all your
who are you sending out to take you back?
Well, come back, so
Don't forget you.
we'll come and get you.
Way through the window.
go and play with the guinea pigs.
Bank holiday weekend,
That's a good idea.
because it's in the standing orders, if you declare an interest, if you declare an interest in something, so, say for instance, if, I put an application in for planning or a party in my yard, while it was discussed, I would have to leave, because I conflict of interest.
And then once we've discussed it and voted and made the decision, you can come back in,
But
but you can't be there when it's
I've been told off because when you declare an interest, I've not enforced that ruling. I'm far too relaxed and chilled. So unfortunately, Roy's been the first recipient of it. But there you go. I don't make the rules, I've got to follow them. And don't want to tell him off again. Right.
Okay, so
Thursday to Sunday with no
facilities.
facility. There was reports last year of people taking a leak behind the tents, on the fence. Not good.
How much did we get from it last year?
£50.
Was that per
No,
pitch?
50
That was
quid.
in total?
That was a donation.
Over a bank holiday weekend, 3 nights camping?
So, no, it was a bank holiday weekend. Would 31st of August last year, so it would have been back on the weekend.
No, no time for COVID.
Yeah, so I was thinking about a car boot as well that weekend. That's what I thought about.
The problem is that, well, they had the being open all last year, didn't they? All the facilities.
Well, I've been led to believe it's already been advertised.
Frank said,
Yeah, it has been. And it's £20 per person. That's what the charge
it's
is.
advertised on a national website and it was advertised on the 21st of April. And yeah, £20 a head. Yeah, £20 a head, and apparently that covers the rent of the field. And we got £50 last year.
You just said no as well.
Sorry?
You just said
It did,
no.
yeah, it did say no to kids.
Oh. Well, that sheds a new light on it.
And also the cars were parked near the swings and tents were up there as well. If we're going to do it, we're going to do it on the far side, if we allow.
So like last year we had concerns with, because it was really hot, wasn't it, and we were about barbecue. So I'd been in contact with the fire department, etc.
It's also, they park on that side of the field, because it's very close to Fen Road and there would have to be a courtesy curfew. You know, they've advertised about entertainment and what have you, that would have to have a cut-off point for the residents down there. I don't think it's fair on them.
So if I'm going to hold a big bash in my yard, I can advertise it months in advance and then come ask you for permission. I'm sorry,
No.
I think that is wrong.
My main concern is we have no facilities, and after last time where things were going on that public were not happy about, it is a public playing field. There are people going down there, walking round and seeing people in hedges and bushes, not ideal. And we've got no facilities, no hot water, no running water, nothing.
Where would our insurance stand?
Wouldn't.
It wouldn't stand.
Would stand.
And
It's not covered because it's not organised by us. Hence why, last year a risk assessment was done,
Yeah.
but the insurance side is not covered.
And caravan licence.
We're not covered full stop because the event isn't run or organised by the parish council.
And presumably they don't have an exemption to have caravan licence. Because according to the legislation camping and caravanning, tents are okay, as long as it's a certain amount of days during the year. But anything that can be transported, like a caravan or a mobile home or trailer tent or anything like that that can be moved for human habitation, they can only have 3 or less. Other than that, any more than that, then we actually have to have a caravan site licence to put them there.
And facilities.
And facilities, well, that's dictated to by the licence. So,
See, I know the pub have one and they have a caravan licence there. And they've got like a little shower facility and stuff like that.
I think with no facilities, the question on insurance gets a no from me, and regarding it being advertised before it's even come to being questioned, it's a big no from me.
well, the fact is, charging people £20 a head. I'm being mercenary on this, charging people £20 a head and donating £50 to us when, we need the money for our play equipment, if nothing
And the
else.
pavilion.
And the pavilion.
Take a vote?
No, no from me.
No from me.
No. Unanimous no. Right. Approve play fetch.
Yeah, so we just wait for your last bit of business. It's date and time of the next meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you very much for having us, though.
If we just keep in touch.
We'll tell you.
Yeah, but if we keep in touch.
Yeah, we definitely will.
Yeah.
I'll send you another email as well because I'll tell you. We'll
Yeah,
correspond.
I'll catch up when I've got.
And it's to do with the family of the deceased wanting a bench.
Right, no problem. I'll catch up with that.
Okay.
We're going into closed session anyway, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to close session. So,
Yeah.
keep
Thank you
us
for coming.
updated on this road.
Stop the fire.
We're with you all the way. I do think, and I will have another look myself down there, that it's not a road I frequent, but I think we need to push for the whole lot to be
It
in
needs to be.
But because when they find one
jetted,
collapse,
to hold it.
and once they get it, it'll collapse again.
Can we take a walk down there, Dean? Can we meet up with these good people and actually walk the road and have them say, right, this is where this, so we know exactly where we're talking about.
When it's raining then.
When it's raining,
Bring your umbrella, but the one that yours is ready.
you won't get
Well,
the council of West Street or
in front of our house,
Christie
we've got
between now and
front
September.
of the garage. I must admit, I'm getting peed off with reversing into the garage and having like 2.5 tons of mud followers.
Don't please think of the land opposite there.
Can you remember that time of that flooding?
Oh, yeah,
Because
yeah.
Dave Windsor, his house was in about that much water when Mr. Freeman lived. And
When you lived, that was, we cleared it out, because I normally clear it out, we cleared all the mud out and got all the things out, and then Bilborough Fire Brigade went hacking up the road again. We had a tsunami come in and fill the house up again.
The plans for Pointon House Farmyard are still going ahead, but they're working on them. Did you go to the village hall meeting?
Yes.
Yeah, but those plans were put to the side, but they are going to reapply.
so maybe the drains would get
No,
sorted.
what can they do in trains?
I don't know.
Was
I'm
it
just
a
telling you,
different
I'm just
name,
telling you what I
was
know.
that for the farm?
Farm yard.
Farm down the bottom of the road, look at the farmyard is.
Yeah.
Picking up, they haven't gone up.
About 27.
20 odd houses, they've got, they said they're going to dig a big
But
lake.
but they didn't,
and then just
they weren't aware of the culvert, were they?
Yeah.
Where are they going to connect the drains to?
What?
It just means that we will water back up to you, isn't it?
They're going to pump it up to the top. Right, I know I've got a way in front of our front door.
They could actually, you know, do it on the cheap and have the lake outside your house.
No, well, we have a lake every bloody time it rains anyway.
But isn't the spring underneath?
There's springs.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is there's a spring underneath, so is that blocking up as well? Because when that flood happened, they put in those big pipes.
Springs will come out the weakest point.
We've got a well in front of our front door, and going down the road, Britain's Lane has got, I think there's a spring down there, because there was a pump, and the school used to have a pump in front of it.
Yeah.
But down the road, Wellsy's got he said he had to put,
Wells's one.
because they had to put because when they built the two houses, they had to put steel joists across it because it was such a big area. I mean, our one's all bricked in and everything like that. It's quite a nice little well. We can get water out of it. But there's wells coming all the way down top of
The well.
West Road. Yeah, because normally you used to have it coming out. We used to have a lot of waterfall. We used to pump it out.
Yeah, the pond has gone.
Yeah.
It's
So
costing too much money.
the springs all down there, but you just think, what the... Maybe you should connect the springs to the drains, you might wash them covering things up.
Before we don't go into closed session, next meeting's Tuesday the 27th of August.
Thank you. If you ever walk down any time.
Yeah,
we will.
yeah.
Can I make a cup of tea?
Thank you.
22nd, yeah.
We'll get to school, yeah.
Yeah, that's the school because I think Emma's finishing shortly.
I gave all the dates.
Yeah, they seem to be alright, we just need to make sure the
Yeah.
alarms are.
Yeah, we should be okay, I think.
I think it's nice to say it's easy for people
It's
to
just
just
big.
follow around.
Tick for the school,
Yes,
that the parish council is involved with the school,
yes,
which I wasn't aware of, but I am now.
yes.
So,
One thing, I know ages and ages and ages ago you mentioned about it being broadcast live, etc.
Yes.
This was mentioned on one of the clerks' forums, and though we have not got internet access now, usually you'd have guest access. So maybe going forward we could
You see, I asked,
get guest access.
yeah, I asked Emma about getting internet access.
Mhm.
She doesn't know how to do it. But the guy that I spoke to, he said he can do that for us and set it up.
So then if we can get guest access, we can
Do it as a live for us.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's important because there's a lot of people who can't come because they either, sorry, if it's the middle of winter and it's chucking down with rain, they don't want to stay in the house if they're elderly and vulnerable. And there are people with young families that can't just go out to the parish council meeting on Tuesday night at 7. So during COVID there was a huge attendance.
And we can advertise it on the Facebook page that that's what's going to happen at the time. Yeah? But the school said, I did speak to the IT
something
rep.
that came up with it.
Yeah, the IT rep said that he could do it, because I have seen him. But we can't gain access at the moment, and she said he will be able to do that. Because he's going to set up so we can get a passcode that we can use.
Yeah, I think Emma did try one of the teachers here on the now
Yeah,
teachers
but
guide.
they're trying to
And although we got the internet access, for some reason there was a firewall block on us using a live video possibly because it's a school.
Yeah, there's a good possibility somebody be coming in here who's pretty hot on IT,
Yeah.
at least one day a week. So, anyway, right, item 13, staffing appraisal.
Oh, you didn't get that comment?
Right, no, the
Oh,
outcome.
You can stand outside
Sorry,
for
mate.
half an hour and...
Sorry,
Yeah.
it's a no, Roy.
Yeah, that was expected.
It's lack of facilities.
Yeah. That'll be another thing the village has lost.
Item 13, staffing appraisal.
Do you want to?
Yeah, I was going to say, we officially closed the meeting.
Yes.
Yes, yeah, we're closed, yeah.